Fabrizio, how are you?
Very well, and you?
Yeah, fantastic, man. It's amazing to be here in Rome with you.
Yeah,
the
great
birthplace
pleasure.
of all this.
Great pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I think why you need to be in the frame.
how's that? You can just turn it as you want. We have our amazing camera person, Marina, here as well. Thank you. So I had the opportunity this morning to write my story on this watch, the
great.
Ultra. And I said, the sound of the mic drop represented by this watch is a sound so massive that it's echoing through all of this watchmaking industry in Switzerland. Such is the achievement of this timepiece. So guys, this is the world's thinnest mechanical watch, but there's so many innovations related to it. So I'm gonna let Fabrizio tell us a little bit about this. Go for it, brother.
It's the end of the journey of the Octo Finissimo with the world record, but for me, it's even the beginning of a new challenge.
Right.
So as you can see, is the thinnest mechanical movement that you find on the market, and it's absolutely amazing. But not just the case, even the bracelet, even the buckle was a brand new design. We started more or less 2 years and a half ago, if I remember well, and the idea was to break all the records.
Yeah.
With a watch, it's a brand new watch. For sure, we are talking about Octo Finissimo, but the approach must be completely different from my point of view. That's why at the beginning, when we received the first layout, it was, let me say, a bit a common watch.
It's too traditional.
Yes,
exactly.
It was so common with the octagonal opening for the dial,
Okay.
with all the elements
Right.
inside the same round shape design, and after the octagonal shape. And I start to talk with the watch masters, and I start to push the boundaries, and you say, guys, we need something different.
Right.
I don't care about the octagonal opening, I don't care about the round shape bezel of the Octo.
Right.
Spread out the movement and try to imagine something that doesn't exist.
Yes.
That's why I say, guys, we have a lot of space at the four corners of this case. Put a bigger barrel as possible and try to have the two counters for the hour and the minutes, and we start to imagine this kind of solution.
No.
And after the next challenge was the bracelet.
Right.
And after the next challenge was the buckle. The Octo Finissimo, it's very well known for this ultra thin and very comfortable bracelet, and even for the invisible buckle.
Right.
But
Right.
this time, if you combine the invisible buckle with the common thickness of the Finissimo bracelet, will become double than the thickness of the case. So in a certain moment, the watchmaster say, guys, but it's impossible to have a bracelet.
Right.
But when you say to me, it's impossible, this is for me the best.
The light turns on,
exactly,
right?
it's the motivation. So I start to make sketches, and this was the sketch. I say, guys, you have to open the bracelet, and you have an absolutely well-integrated buckle. For the first time, we don't have the buckle and the bracelet, but we have the buckle and the bracelet put together.
Right.
This was a bit the mantra, let me say, around the movement. Even because, as you can see, the watch is made with a B material construction. So just the case, the carrure is made in titanium,
Right.
but the back case, that is even the main plate, is made in tungsten carbide.
Carbide, yeah, exactly.
So we have 8 patents for this watch, the way to fix the glass, the B components construction for the case, for sure the barrel, for sure this idea of the NFT on top of the
which I
barrel.
love, yes, exactly.
It was not just the idea to have a new ultra-thin execution, a physical object, but
Right.
in a certain moment, I'm honest, the barrel is the biggest element of the dial, is the focus point of the dial. And
Yes.
at a certain moment I say, guys, we need to have a very unique, let me say, we must have a decoration on this movement.
Right.
But I don't love to have a decorative element just to make a decoration. So in a certain moment I say, why don't you use a QR code
Right.
on this big surface?
Incredible.
And with this QR code you can open a virtual world. So for me, this watch is a gate. Here we are in Via dei Condotti, and the door, the Via dei Condotti door, is one of the most iconic elements of this brand.
Right.
And now we have a new gate that is a digital gate. So we finish the part of the mechanical parts, the physical object made by the watchmasters, and we start to introduce a word that doesn't exist.
That's amazing.
So the QR code with all the information about your own watch, and the NFT, for the first time, a piece of digital art linked with an NFT and a QR code to a physical watch, to a physical object.
Amazing.
So, as you can see, it's not just the construction of the case, it's not just the buckle, it's not just the bracelet, but it's even all the world that is around this watch. This is very important for me.
That's incredible. I mean, the first thing that you look at when you see this watch, as Fabrizio was saying, it's like very non-traditional in terms of the way it's designed, because you have every element of this watch serving double, triple, sometimes even quadruple functions, right?
Exactly.
So what I love here is if you look at it, so, and you can see from Fabrizio's sketch here, he basically wanted to create something where everything was radiating out of like the barrel, like the rays of the sun,
exactly.
right? So you see, and then you have here the sub-dials for the hour on the top right, for the minutes on the bottom left. And then if you look, I don't know if we can even catch this on the camera, but you have a running seconds indicator, which is actually the seconds wheel of the gear train, which I absolutely love, right? And you've had before like ultra-thin watches, so when you look at it and you're like, okay, it's cool that it's functioning, I mean, it's amazing, but when you look at this, there's so much three-dimensionality, even though it's the world's thinnest watch, right? Like you look at that and you look at the balance wheel vibrating at 4 hertz, right? And what's so cool about this, like one of my favorite elements is what they call the Escapement Bridge, which is like this 3-arm skeletonized bridge for the balance and the escape wheel. And what's so cool about this is that you can't put a traditional shock absorber in this watch. So the arms of the bridge actually flex to incorporate
Yeah, exactly.
That, right?
In a certain moment, they give me this kind of layout, and I say, guys, but what we gonna do with all this kind of flat surface? We have enough thickness to have a sort of escamotage, to have a three-dimensional effect even on this ultra flat construction.
Yes.
So as you can see, the watch looks like a three-dimensional watch, but at the end it's just 1.8 millimeters. So it's like in a certain moment when you see the watch from the face, it looks like, let me say, a common watch, but when you turn on the side, you miss completely the third dimension.
Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing about it, right? It's so visually rich in this way when you see so much content going on there with the exposed gear train, with the base plate being in fact the case of the watch itself, and then you flip it on the side and you're like, oh my God, it just disappeared, And that's what I love about it. But what I love most about it is Fabrizio, is that this watch, it doesn't feel like a concept watch. It feels like a proper, beautifully executed, fully realized, integrated bracelet sports watch that you could put on and walk down the street right now and you'd have the coolest watch in the world, right? And then, as Fabrizio said also, there's the laser engraving of the QR code on the ratchet wheel here, which you can see, and that unlocks the digital universe. So everyone has a unique artwork that goes with it.
Yes.
And then, you will have all these different accesses that you can have digitally.
Different numbers. So the first batch, it's gonna be 10 pieces.
Right.
It's gonna be ready on shelf at the end of this year. So through the QR code, you have your own access to your watch, and you have your own NFT digital art.
So this is, of course, the watch that we're talking about. Fabrizio, this is an amazing, amazing achievement. This is the world's thinnest mechanical watch. I guess it's funny because you look at it from this perspective, and as we were talking about, you see so much in terms of dimensionality, right? But then, you start turning it.
And we miss something.
And it's like this crazy optical illusion because it absolutely disappears. 1.8 mm in thickness. I know you actually had an original version that was 1.7, right? But then you decided to go with 1.8 just to create a bit more robustness.
I think it's even the thinnest bracelet
but the bracelet's
on the
incredible.
market, even the thinnest buckle, and it's absolutely incredible. This buckle, it's even more than the invisible buckle that we have on the common, let me say, Finissimo bracelet. The watch is a big constraint itself, so it's not just the movement, not just the components, but even the bracelet, the buckle, the two wheels that we use to set in the time and charge the barrel. So it was a very unique journey.
Fabrizio, can you do that or just show us how do the two wheels work? I know you got two basically horizontal crowns.
Yes, exactly.
One for the time setting, one for the barrel. Oh, right.
As you can see here, we have one wheel.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and the other one is on the other side to charge the barrel.
Wow, and you guys can actually see the ratchet wheel turning when you... Could you turn the barrel again? One more time. That's cool. And then what's interesting too also is that the time setting crown on the right hand side is got a differential mechanism as well, right? So you can actually set it, if you don't mind just turn it for me one more time, Fabrizio, and it doesn't affect the underlying timekeeping, right? Like the timekeeping is completely unaffected. And this is part of the secret about what makes this such a wearable watch to me as well. You know, like there's other watches that have been created, but the crown was so difficult to use. Fabrizio, one last thing, show us how the buckle works, because I think that that's incredible.
Absolutely amazing.
All right.
So as you can see, is completely integrated in the bracelet.
Right.
It's a part of the bracelet, so it works like a common deployant buckle with the 3 blades. It is a part of the bracelet. So when you open, you have this hole that leave the space to the buckle to go in.
So usually those would be additional elements which add additional thickness.
Exactly.
So this is like the cool thing I love about Fabrizio. Like, well, he never makes anything like without any with compromise, right? Like that's, if he's going to make the world's thinnest mechanical watch, he's got to make the world's thinnest buckle and the world's thinnest bracelet as well. Bravo, sir. You know, Fabrizio, I mean, we're still like, 10 days away from the actual watch fair, but I almost feel I can go home now because I don't know how anyone's going to do better than this, right?
Thank you so much.
Maestro, bravo.
Thank you so much, Wade.
Thank you.
But for us, it's a bit the pinnacle of this amazing journey that we started more than 10 years ago with the Finissimo and 10 years ago with the Octo.
Amazing.
But it's, I love to say that it's the end of a journey, it's just the beginning of a new one.
Absolutely, and this is, you know, one of the key guys behind it and one of the best achievements in watchmaking in the modern era. Bravo, sir.
Thank you so much.
You killed it.
Thank you.
All right, that's it. I'm going home now. Bye.
Not with the watch, please.